Hi, everyone. We will start in just 1 second. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bringg's webinar. My name is Hadar, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Bringg. And what we're going to talk about today is the scenario of deliveries done from a central hub. So package delivery, parcel delivery, restaurant deliveries, all of those cases where your drivers always deliver from the same place. So you manage a hub, and drivers get to that hub and drive out to customers, come back there, this kind of flow. So we will talk about that in more details in a few seconds. So I just wanted to start by saying that the webinar will be recorded, and you can find the recording afterwards on our website right here on our platform, under resources, webinars. So here you can see all of our past webinars, and actually during today's webinar, we're going to relate to a few of the webinars that we've had in the past, and it would be great if you find something that can be interesting for you to go and listen to that webinar later after we're done today. So that's one important note. And then the second important note is that on your GoToWebinar interface, there is a chat where you can type in questions. I think some of you already found it, and some of you already wrote some comments there. So feel free to write your questions there, and I will relate to them at the end of this demonstration of this webinar. So let's get started. I'm going to start just to make sure that we're all on the same page with what Bringg is and the flow, the very basic flow of an order once you use Bringg to fulfill it. So, and I'm doing that really to get us on the same page and make sure that we all understand the same thing. I know that some of you already use Bringg on your day-to-day work, but some of you, it's the first time you meet us. So welcome, and a few words about Bringg. Bringg is a cloud-based platform that helps you manage your delivery and your mobile workforce in a frictionless way and provide a great customer experience while doing so. So basically, it gives you visibility into where your team is, what's up with your orders or tasks, who should be doing what, gives you a lot of optimization and some logistic help, and it gives your customers a great experience and visibility into what's happening and where their task is. So when we talk about the Bringg ecosystem, I'm told here that the screen is frozen. Yeah, it is frozen. Let me unfreeze it for a second. Right, so I was talking about things that you don't see. In a second, we will make sure that doesn't happen. All right, you should be able to see my screen right now, and you should be able to see three screens on it. Two phones and one desktop computer. So this is the Bringg ecosystem, as I was saying. The ecosystem is comprised of three main players. In the middle, we see the management dashboard. The management dashboard is available on the web. It's a cloud-based dashboard. And on the dashboard, this is actually what we're going to look into most today, different functionalities and things you can do on the dashboard. So on the dashboard, you can have your dispatching team, your managers, and your customer service people all getting information and able to manage the day and manage the customers and the team. On the left-hand side, we see the customer. In the off-the-shelf experience, the customer on Bringg doesn't have to download anything. The entire experience can happen via SMS or email, and they really have no technological commitment, I call it sometimes. So, but of course, Bringg can be embedded into an app, into a native app if you have one. I'm not going to talk about that today because we're talking more about the dispatching point of view today. But if you're interested, you can always email us on support@bringg.com for more details. And on the right-hand side, we see the driver's native mobile app. Now, the drivers have a native app, the Bringg app, for Android and iPhone, and they can manage their entire experience on one place. So if I quickly go through the flow of an order is being placed. We will talk later about how orders can be pushed to Bringg once they're being placed once they're being submitted by the customer. As soon as the order is pushed to Bringg, it will appear on the Bringg dashboard. From there, it can be dispatched to the driver. Again, I'm not going to go into details here because we will talk in length on how you can dispatch orders to drivers. There is more than one way on Bringg, but either way you choose, more manual, more automatic, the driver will now get a push notification saying that a new order was assigned to him or her, and they can accept the order, they can see all the details. Once a driver accepts, the order is added to this driver's list of tasks for the day. And by clicking on the order, a driver can see all the different details. So who the customer is, what time the order is due, all the different notes. If the customer left a note, it all appears here. And of course, it makes it super easy for the driver to do everything they need during the day. So drivers need to call their customers. They need to call the back office. They need to navigate to the address. All of those are available right here on the same screen. As soon as the driver is ready to start, they would click I'm on my way. And now the customer, going back to the customer's device on the left-hand side, the customer will get either an email or a text message saying any text you wanted to say. But in this case, it says, hey, Marie, your delivery is on the way. And it gives the customer a link to an HTML5 page where they can track in real time where the driver is, they can communicate with the driver, they get a real-time ETA. And of course, this entire experience can be branded to your company color and logo. And just to complete the flow, and we will again talk about that in length later, once a driver arrives to the location, they can add proof of delivery. We will see a few examples of proof of delivery that can be done in today's webinar. And the customer will get a notification that the driver is there. And as soon as the driver leaves the location, the customer can rate the service. So all in all, this is kind of the very, very high level off-the-shelf scenario or order flow. And what we're going to look into today is how to make this flow suitable for your needs as people that deliver packages or deliver food from a central hub. How you can customize this experience a little more to fit your scenario. And while I'm saying that, I can also tell you that in other webinars, you can see other scenario and other advanced customizations that you can do with the system so it can fit you. So I'm going to talk about two main scenarios today. In both cases, orders are always being picked up from the same place. But in one case, in the first scenario that I'm going to define today, orders are usually being picked up in large batches, so maybe once or twice during a day or a shift. And usually the driver would go on a route in this case. I guess some of you can relate to this scenario more. On the other scenario, drivers kind of drive back and forth, so the orders are being on demand, and the drivers drive back and forth from the central hub, restaurant, storage, office, to the customers and then come back. And in this case, first of all, the rhythm is much higher. So orders come in, they have to go on demand. The times are very crucial, and you want to know where drivers are, and more importantly, when are they going to come back. So I'm going to introduce a few capabilities of Bringg that some of them are more focused on the first scenario that I would call maybe the route scenario or the planned scenario, and some of them are more suitable for the second scenario, so for the on-demand scenario. So let's take a look at the Bringg dashboard for a second. Again, I'm assuming some of you already know it, some of you don't. But this is the Bringg dashboard, a very quick orientation. Dispatch is the screen where you see open orders. So all those 3 orders are now open. We can see that the last one is blue, and if I hover on the dot, it would say that it is started. So this order is actually assigned to Mark, that is our head of marketing, and is here on the call as well, and he will help me during this demonstration a little bit more. And the other 2 are green. They were only assigned and accepted by me, but not started yet. But I get all this picture from just looking at the dispatch screen. I can also see the 2 drivers that I have on shift and where they are. I see a map here, so I can locate each of them. History will show me all of the done or canceled tasks that I've had. So the history will show me what happened, who did what. If I look at a specific task, I can see all of the different timestamps. So when it was started, when it was completed, different notes that the driver added. I can see all of that in the history. And drivers and customers and reports, I'm assuming that are very self-explanatory. And right here at the top right, we will find the settings, and we will be looking at them in a bit. So let's start with my first debt to you, and that's how do you add orders to the Bringg dashboard. So there are a few ways you can add orders to the Bringg dashboard. The first one, very simple, manual. You can just click here and add your order details manually. This works great when you need to add exceptions. This works great if you want to do a pilot that starts tomorrow. You can basically just sign up, do the settings as you want, and start adding orders manually very, very quickly to get the feeling of how it works. In larger scale, of course, this would not work as well, and that's why we also have CSV upload option. So basically, you just go to the arrow next to add order, and you can select a file and import it into the system. If you give it a try, and if you give it a try when you start, you will probably see that you have to join our beta group. I encourage all of you to join the beta group, and our support will be happy to help you set up a CSV configuration for your account. And finally, the last and important way to add orders to Bringg is using our API integration. We have a very elaborate and simple yet API integration. You can pretty much do any action you can think of by integrating your system into Bringg. We actually had a webinar about our API integration just a few weeks ago, and I welcome all of you that are interested to listen to it on our website. So those would be the 3 ways that an order is added to Bringg. And out of those ways, I would say that if your scenario is on demand, as I differentiated before, on demand from planned or route, if your scenario is on demand, you would probably need API integration. If your scenario is route, since you plan it in advance, you could use CSV upload, or you could use API integration. Either way would work just as well, but I don't see how on-demand scenario could use CSV upload. Maybe you can you can add to my knowledge about that. So as we were talking before, when we were looking at the flow of the order, once the order arrives to the dashboard, now it needs to be dispatched to the drivers. So as we said, there are a few dispatching options. First of all, you can always just dispatch manually, just click on the driver and select one driver. But I'm going to talk about 3 dispatching options that are most useful for the scenario where pickup always happens at the same location. So the first option is grab mode. Grab mode is what we call a specific dispatching option where you kind of give responsibility to your drivers. So basically, all drivers get a push notification about a new task, and they can, and the first one to grab the task would fulfill it. Now, I want to talk about a specific option of grab mode in this specific case, and that's grab mode only at home. At home meaning close to your base location. So how do I do that, and how do I know what exactly that means? When you set up your account, and I'm going to the settings quickly, when you set up your account, you have to add an address on the profile settings. This address is your base. It's the warehouse, the restaurant, your main office, the place where drivers start their day from. Now, if I'm going to the settings for grab mode, that's under driver app, under merchant configuration, I meant. So if I'm going to the settings for grab mode, you can see it's turned on now, but it also has another line about when do I alert drivers. So I can select alerting drivers always, or I can select alerting them only at home. And only at home means when they get close to your central hub. So basically, we will recognize drivers getting close to that address that you added on your merchant profile, and we will also know that you have some orders waiting to be delivered, and we will just alert those drivers, hey, we have some orders for you. Grab the orders you want on the app, grab them physically from the store or the warehouse, and get on your way. So this is grab mode only at home. And this is a great option if you operate a business that flows very quickly and things have to be done very quickly, and you always have a pool of people to select from. Another dispatching option that it would be very useful in this scenario can be found on the dispatch screen on the list view, and that's the bulk action. So as I said, you can manually dispatch orders to drivers, but you can also select multiple orders and dispatch them to a driver from right here. So you can dispatch multiple orders at the same time. And finally, another dispatching option is an automatic kind of dispatching, but and this is something that we're actually developing today, and should be available within the next month or two. And basically, you will give us a list of tasks. So here I have 3. You can have more than that, and some rules. And there will be an algorithm optimizing the tasks that you ask for the drivers that you have available. I'm not going to talk a lot about this since it is still in development, but if you are interested, we will be more than happy to hear from you. So just send us an email, ask about that, and we can move forward with this. But one important thing I do want to show, when you do dispatch batches of orders, more than in the on-demand scenario, is something we call planning phase. So if I'm going to planning phase, it's under the settings. Again, I'm going back to merchant configuration, and I scroll down a little bit, and you can see here, go through planning phase before executing. And if I select this option, an interesting thing would happen. So I'm going to click update, and now I have a new tab in my main bar. This tab is called planning, and planning basically shows all of the orders before you send them to drivers. So I have this new tab planning, and I have this new button send to drivers. And basically what would happen is whether you upload your orders using a CSV or you use an API integration, all of the orders will be piling up here under planning and not under dispatch. You have all the orders here. You're not notifying the drivers about anything, and you can here use either the bulk actions that we were talking about or any other dispatching method that you want, the optimization later once it's available publicly, and make the corrections that you want to make. And once you're ready, you take the orders that you're ready to send to the drivers and you click send to drivers. This will also be super helpful if you receive orders that are scheduled into the future a little bit. So if you receive orders for Friday, on Monday, you don't want the driver to keep this on his or her backlog. So what you would do is you would just keep it here, assign it to a driver maybe, but not send it to the driver until it's Friday, and they really need to fulfill this order. So now that we've dispatched the orders, we can go back. To the dispatch screen, and we can see a few nice tools for a dispatcher when they manage the day after dispatching happens. So when drivers are driving around and are on their way, two tools for the dispatcher to kind of know what's going on. One of them is this new button here, the map. The map opens a new window that basically shows you all of your tasks, their location, and they are color-coded according to the driver that is going to fulfill them. So as you can see, I'm not an expert on New York's geography as I am on delivery applications, so the orders are a little scattered around, but these would be orders 1 and 2 of Hadar and order 1 of Mark. So this is a great tool. You can also use it in the planning phase. So as long as while you're planning the deliveries and you're assigning orders to drivers, you can check yourselves by going to this map, looking at it and seeing according to the colors. And if you said, so Mark is only going to deliver from Manhattan and Hadar from Brooklyn, you can see that here you have a mistake and you need to make an adjustment for that. And another great tool that I wanted to show you today, again, very suitable for the second scenario we were talking about, where drivers kind of drive back and forth during the day. So the map that we just saw, this map with the colors, is more suitable when you plan ahead and you dispatch large batches of orders. In the other scenario, where orders kind of being sent out on demand in smaller batches, the feature I want to introduce is called ETA to home. It can be found under merchant configuration as well. So that's the one, show ETA to home on map view. And what we will see now is, never forget to click update. What we will see now on the dispatch screen on the map view is that I have a new square here, a new frame that shows me where my drivers are. So, and more importantly, so yeah, I'm not exactly in New York right now, but more important than where the drivers are at any given moment, it shows you when they are going to be back at the base, so back at the home. And in order to give an example of this, I will ask for Mark's help. As we saw, Mark has a task that he's now on the way to. But Mark, if you could finish your task, so we can see you as free, and we will see what happened. So let's let Mark complete the task that he's on the way to. And basically, the ETA to base only shows you your available drivers, because we work under the assumption that that the drivers that are free are heading back towards the base. So I don't know if Mark can hear us and has completed the task. Let's give him another second, and if not, maybe I'll just complete the task for him so we can see what happens. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Mark is now free, and I can see that he will be arriving to home at 8:48, which is 2 hours from now on my time. I'm sure it might look a little weird to some of you in different time zones. And again, not an expert on New York geography. So basically what this list here will show you is all of the drivers that are heading back, i.e. free right now, when are they going to be in? So if you have a logistic part in the back of the stage, so you have either a kitchen that needs to pack things up and prepare them for the drivers, or just employees standing in the storage preparing the different batches of deliveries that need to be collected, they can see every time a new driver is free and start preparing and knowing exactly when they're going to be back and be ready for them with the next batch of orders that they need to carry. Right, so now that we talked about the dispatcher and what the dispatcher can do on the dashboard, I want to talk about the driver. So the driver also has, well, you as managers or dispatchers can create a smoother flow for your drivers in this specific scenario. So as you probably know, those of you who use Bringg and those of you who know us, a lot of pieces on the system are very modular, and you can decide which features to enable or disable. And when you create different combinations between those features, you can create a much smoother experience for your drivers, depending on the scenario that you're operating in. So one important thing I would suggest is low touch or zero touch experience for the driver. How do we do that? So we have two main features that reduce the activity of the driver on the app. And of course, it's up to your decision. Some businesses would say we want the drivers to always look at the app and use it and report things back. But in the case you want low touch or zero touch, I would do two things. One thing I can offer is hands-free mode. Hands-free mode basically uses the driver's location and recognizes when the driver arrives to the destination that he's driving to, checks the driver in, and then once the driver starts pulling away, the system will know that the task was completed and will complete the task. All of this is done without the driver needing to ever touch the application. So this reduces the use of the driver in the app, and if your business really depends on speed more than on reports, then this can be a great solution for you, because the driver just drives and the app does everything for the driver. In addition to that, we have a feature called Auto Start. So both of them can be found, by the way, under Settings and Driver App. So I was talking about hands-free mode. And now the other one is Auto Start Orders. And this is for the case where you want to define for your drivers what the route that they're going to drive in is. So whether you have small batches of 3 or 4 or 6 orders each time, or large batches of 50 orders to be delivered within the shift, if you decide that the driver should always follow a specific order of delivery, and it can be based either on priority, which is something that you set when you upload or push orders into Bringg. It can be defined by time or by distance, but if you want them to keep to the order of tasks that they have, what you can do is set auto start, and that means that once the previous order was completed, the next one would start automatically. And for the drivers, it makes a lot of difference, because it saves them a few clicks in the app, because all they need to do is complete the previous order, and everything just happens for them automatically. Now, of course, if you combine the two, auto start and hands-free, it allows you to have the driver only start the route in the beginning, and from there on, everything would happen automatically. So they start the route, and then order number 1 is started, completed by location. Order number 2 is started and completed by location, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, on the other end, let's say, of all of this, is the world of proof of delivery. So you might want to require drivers to give some proof of delivery once they deliver. You want them to add a proof. So let's see a few options for proof of delivery. And for that, I'm going to share the screen of my phone. Let's see if that works. Perfect. So this is my driver app. You saw that I had 2 tasks assigned to me. And when I complete the task, I can do a few things. So I'm starting my task, and I have here the address, the customer name, all the contact options, but I also have inventory, and this is something I'll mention in just a word. You can add inventory items to your deliveries. You can do it either by using CSV or in API integration. And when I click on edit here, oh, sorry, of course, I have to be on site in order to edit. So I'm going to start the task. See the start button is hiding below the bar here, but I started the task now. And now when I click on edit inventory, which is one of the things I might need as a proof of delivery, Oops, again, sorry, need to arrive. Okay, so I started the task. I arrived at the location, so the app also recognizes that I'm not in the location that I should be, but I'm going to override that. And now when I click on edit for the inventory, what I get here is a barcode scanner. So I can scan a barcode or input a code manually in order to report back that I delivered a specific package. So let's try the barcode scanning. I have my barcode here. I get a success message, and I can move along. Now you can make scanning mandatory, by the way, so that your drivers will not be able to complete a task before they scan an order. You can make any proof of delivery mandatory. So let's see how I can make you see my entire screen. So right next to I don't know what happened here. Right next to my main button that does start, arrived, and left location, there is a plus sign. Let's see if I can make sure that you would see it. Okay. So, you'll have to trust me on that. But next to the button, the main button that the driver clicks in order to hit start, arrived, or left, there is a plus sign, and when I open it, it opens the different actions that I can perform as a driver. So I can add a form, a very simple form that you can create from the dashboard. I can add a photo of the products that I delivered if needed, or if there was a complaint about the goods that were delivered, I can take a photo, and then the back office or the customer care team would know what to do. All of this, by the way, is added to the task. So let's try taking a photo and add it to the task. For example, that's my photo. And it is now added to the task. Other actions that I can do is take a signature. Again, very simple, add a comment and scan an item as you saw. And you can also take payments on site. If you're interested in that, of course, you can give us send us an email and we will help you through that. So this is about the driver's flow. And finally, the customer experience. So we had a dispatcher and the tools that they can use. We had the drivers and the different flows they can use, either proof of delivery or no touch, low touch. Usually these would not necessarily work as well together. You can demand mandatory proof of delivery, for example, and combine it with auto start. And then you would get a flow where the driver adds a signature, for example, and as soon as they add a signature and finish the task, the new task is going to be open. So that they, as I said, they will follow the order of tasks that you requested them to follow. And finally, the customer experience. So all of this is what the driver and dispatcher do, but the customer can also get a little bit of a different experience. So customers, as we saw, get a text message or an email alerting them that the driver is on the way, and they can rate the service, they can track the driver. But another thing that they can do, if you work in routes or in small or large batches and you want to alert your customers not only when the driver is really heading their way, but you want to alert them beforehand. You want to alert them once the driver leaves the hub, leaves the store. You want them to know that someone is on the way and have more time to prepare for that. What you would need to do is change your merchant. First of all, change your merchant mode, which can be found under merchant profile, to route. This is a route mode because basically all of the customers you have in a specific route, you want to create a connection between them. So I'm changing to route. and updating. And now I would see in the customer notifications, before I change to route. Sorry, before I change to route, I can only set alerts on task started, driver arrived, or driver is leaving. So these are the alerts I can send. But you can see that now I have another alert on route started. And basically what it means is that if my driver has now 5 orders assigned or 50 orders assigned, again, depending on your scenario, if you set up a message here, once a driver starts order number 1 for the day or for the batch, all of the customers will get a notification. So all of the customers of the orders that are assigned to that driver currently. So we're assuming that the driver is going to go in a route and all of them need to know what's going on. So this is it for today, and I will open it to questions just to kind of recap what we were talking about. We were talking about how to upload orders or add orders into Bringg. We talked about how to dispatch them to drivers. You can use grab mode only when the drivers head back, or you can use a planning phase and do your planning before you send it to the drivers. We talked about the drivers that can have a low-touch flow and can add proof of delivery just as you require, and the customers that can get an additional notification when the driver is heading their way to get prepared more in advance. So I will open this to questions at this point, and I'll ask for Mark's help with the questions that we have.
All right, Hadar, great job. I'm going to go through some of the questions that we've been getting. The first question is from PJ, and he asks if there's a pickup location, and what if I have a pickup location and a drop-off location? It would send the customers 2 links for tracking. I just want 1 link.
Right. Yeah. So in the scenario of pickup and drop-off, this is a scenario I actually did not talk about today at all. But in a few words, everything would look a little bit different, and there are many features that I mentioned today that might not work as well, but other features that do a great job with those pickup drop-off cases. So basically what you do when you have pickup and drop-off is when you add an order, you add it with 2 stops, pickup and drop-off. Same goes if you add it through CSV or API. And in that case, the first stop would not necessarily get the link. So that's up to you to decide, but the merchant mode that is suitable for this is called multiple pickup location, multiple drop-off locations. So in that, you can see it right here. So it's the third one, and that's the case you're talking about. Pickup can be done from different locations, and drop-off can be done in different locations. Pickup from restaurants or just merchants that you deliver for, and drop off at the customers. And in this case, the first stop will not even be sent an alert, and the customer will only be sent an alert on the second stop. So once the driver leaves the pickup location. I hope this answers your question. We can go on.
Okay, so Alejandro asks, if a driver has 5 tasks, will the ETA consider all tasks to make the calculation?
I'm assuming you're talking about ETA to home, the box that there is on the side. So ETA is something we have. Okay, let me explain it this way. ETA is calculated per task as soon as the task is started. And we calculate it based on the driver's location, speed, and different details that we know about the traffic. So an ETA usually would be calculated as soon as the driver starts a task. The ETA to home that we saw is calculated once the driver is free. So as soon as the driver is free, we calculate how long it will take this driver to arrive back to the central hub or office. We do have a scenario, and let me see if I can show it in this case. So it will be a little difficult because maybe with Mark. So I see now that Mark is free if I try to assign Mark manually. But if Mark had a task, I would see here how long it would take it would take him to, so like if I want to assign something to myself, I can see that in 3 hours, I will be at the end of all of my tasks. So this is something that would work better in the case of pick up and drop off, not from the same place every time. And then you need to know, well, actually, not necessarily. Sorry, it would work in this scenario as well. If you have a batch of orders, you will be able to also not just get ETA to base, but get ETA to free. So when will the driver be free after they complete all of the different tasks that they have assigned to them? Yes. But this feature shows only when they're going to be back at the base. If you need to see when they're going to be free, it's a different feature that we're working on right now and should be added in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so the final question I'm seeing now and might be related to what we just talked about was any advice when the mode is set to multiple pickup, multiple drop off?
Yeah, so just a few words of advice though. It was not exactly the topic of today's. So when you set to multiple pickup, multiple drop off, first of all, you can use our auto dispatch in order to know who is the most suitable driver to pick up right now. Another thing that happens on multiple pickup and multiple drop off in the driver's experience is that if you assign orders with pickup location in close proximity to one another, the driver app will automatically batch those pickup locations together for the driver to more easily know what's going on and pick up everything together before in kind of orient them better in the pickup and drop-offs. There are different other options if you set a multiple pickup, multiple drop-off, and you can expand on them. I mean, you're welcome to email us, and we will expand on them.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions that we have.
Great, thank you. So so we do welcome you to send us any questions you have to support@bringg.com, and we will be happy to answer. And of course, if you are interested in some advanced features, you can watch the webinar we have about advanced settings and customizations on the website. Thank you very much for joining, and hope to see you next time.